Hello everybody, myself Nidhi Joshi, and in today's session I am going to discuss about what is a job sequencing with deadline. So, in my session I am going to discuss about what is a job sequencing with deadline, problem statement, approach to solution, and how we are applying the greedy method in order to solve this problem. We are understanding this approach with the help of an example, and last is the maximum profit earned. So to start with this, so if you are given a set of job and each job has a defined deadline, each job should be completed within the deadline and some profit is associated with it, and the profit of the job is given only when a job is completed before deadline. If we are doing the job after the deadline, then we will not get the whatever the profit value associated to that job. And one more constraint is there: only one processor is available in order to process all the job, as well as processor takes only 1 unit of time in order to complete a particular job, or in a simple word, each job takes 1 unit of time. So if a particular job is performing, that time the remaining job needs to be in the waiting state. So let us see. So if we are having the following constraint, so how can the total profit be maximized if only one job can be completed at a time? So in order to get the n jobs to be executed, and we should get the maximum profit value, in order to obtain the feasible solution, we should take care of certain point, so that all the jobs get completed within their given deadline and will get the maximum profit. So a feasible solution would be a subset of job where each job of subset gets complete within its deadline. The job will complete within its deadline. If the job is completed on or before its deadline, then only will get the maximum profit. Second point is that the value of the feasible solution would be the sum of profit of all the job contained in a subset. Like, how will get this value? When I am discussing the problem, that time I will discuss the sum of the profit values of all the jobs contained in the subset. And the third point is that an optimal solution to the problem would be a feasible solution which will give the maximum profit. The constraint is that all the job should be executed within or before its deadline, then only we can achieve the maximum profit. So here, like, we are having this problem. The problem is that we have to get the maximum profit, and the job should complete. If the job is completing on or before its deadline, then only we'll get the profit. So we are having a big and a giant problem. So our approach, like which approach or which procedure we are going to use in order to solve this problem. So we are solving right now, we are solving it with the greedy algorithm. In the greedy algorithm, we are using in order to determine how the next job is selected for an optimal solution. So first what we are doing, we are sorting all the jobs in decreasing order of their profit. Second step involved is like, in the second step, the value of the maximum deadline. Suppose we are having some 5 jobs, 1 to 5, and the job with the maximum deadline. So for this reason we are using a giant chart here. Because why we are using, because each job takes 1 unit of time. So the value of the maximum deadline is 5. So we are drawing a giant chart with the maximum time on the giant chart is 5. This is the maximum time. So here we are taking each job one by one, because each job takes 1 unit of time. And next what we are doing, we place the job on the giant chart as far as possible from 0, like whatever the deadline value is associated to the job, so that it should be far from 0. So the logic behind that, the maximum job will be done, then only will get the maximum profit. So, and the last step that involves is that we'll pick up the job one by one from the list that we had already arranged in the decreasing order. So put the job on the giant chart as far as possible from 0, as well as ensuring that the jobs get completed on or before its deadline. Then only will get the maximum profit. So to clear this approach, like how we are using the greedy approach in order to solve the job sequencing problem, let us consider one example. So here we are having the jobs. We are having total 6 jobs from J1 to J6, and their deadlines and associated profit as follow. The deadline, it means the job can be completed on and before 5. The job can be completed on or before the 2 unit of time, like that, and the profit associated to each job. So here our purpose is that we have to choose that job, the job in that order, so that we'll get the maximum profit, and each job carry a unit amount of time, or each job takes 1 unit of time. So the first step is like, the job what we are having, we are arranging the job in the decreasing order of their profit. So on that basis we had arranged and we got this table, the job in the decreasing order of their profit. So next is like, we are drawing one giant chart. So totally we are having the 6 jobs starting from 0 to 5, and each job takes 1 unit of time, and it should take 1 unit of time. So next step involves is like, first we'll take the job 4. If we see this, table, the job can be completed, job 4 can be completed before the 2 unit of time. So we are placing it far from 0. So if we are placing the job 4 here, so it is completing on or before 2, then only we'll get the maximum profit. So our main purpose is like the before time we can give it for those jobs that are having a shorter deadline. So the next step involved is like we are taking the next job. The next job in the queue is J1 and its deadline is 5. So we are placing it here at the last, so that in the meantime, in the remaining slot, the next job will get an opportunity. Our main purpose is to get the maximum profit out of. We have to select that job sequence so that we'll get the maximum profit. The next job in the queue is J3. Deadline is 3. So we are placing the job 3 before the deadline 3. So we place it in the first empty cell before the deadline 3. So the next job in the queue is we take the job 2 since its deadline is 3. So it can be if completed in 0-1 slot also, 1-2 slot also, and 2-3 slot also. But by default, this slot and this slot both are packed. So we have to keep the J2 job from in the first slot. So since its deadline is 4, so we'll place it in the first empty cell before the deadline 4. So in the next step, so the only job left is J6, whose deadline is 2. So all the slots before the deadline 2 are already occupied. So we cannot choose the job J6 could be completed because we are not having any empty space. So we'll discard this job. Which job we are going to discard? We are going to discard the job J6. So finally, like if we are having the following job sequence J2, J4, J3, J5, J1, then all the jobs are completed on and before the deadline, and with this job sequence we are getting a maximum profit. So now how to compute the maximum profit? So in order to compute the maximum profit, we are doing a summation of the profit of all the jobs in the optimum schedule. So while I was discussing this point in the previous slide, that time I told, like, let me clear this first. Here I was discussing about the value of the feasible solution. So here we got one sequence, like we are following some J2, J4, J3 job sequence. So there this is the feasible solution of that problem, and if I am adding the sum of the profit values of each this job sequence, then I am getting a maximum profit. So let us see how we are computing the maximum earned profit. So which is nothing, which is simply the summation of all the jobs in an optimal schedule. So it is the profit of job J2, J4, J3, J5 and J1. So after summing all the values, the profit value we are getting a maximum profit of 990 unit, and the job sequence is with this. If we are following this job sequence, we are getting a maximum profit of 990 unit. So in the today's session, I had discussed about the job sequencing with deadline using greedy approach. First we had understand the problem statement, the constraint to the problem, how we are solving the job sequencing problem using greedy method, and to clear this point we had considered with one example, like what all steps or approaches we are using, or which path, which steps we are using in order to get the maximum profit earned. So that all is there in my session. I think till now we had covered introduction to an algorithm, divide and conquer approach, and the greedy method. In case if you are having any queries related to this topic, just let me know. I will try to solve you in the best possible way.